right. Hello, hello. Hello, hello. Should be good here. Let's see if I can tuck this in. All right. Hey, everybody. We will be going live in just 1 minute. Let me know if you can hear me. Who's here, where you're from. Throw it in the chat. I see we got Richard, Vinny, and Joseph. But I don't know if my chat is totally up to date. So Amy's going to be here in 1 sec, and she'll give me a word on what's going on. Very good. Hope everybody's doing well and staying warm. I know it's real cold out there. Hey, Richard's here. Jody. Hey, Brian. All right, I think my chat is updating. So I see Leonard, Brian, Jim, Brandon, Joseph, and Richard. Awesome. Let's do a quick camera check. 2, 3. There we go. All right. Thanks, Vinny. Glad you can hear me. We just got another minute or two, and then we'll be going. I think we're live. Everything good there? Were they coming over to watch or just ask questions?
Just ask questions.
Okay. Yeah, with being so close, we got to maybe have a little buffer of time. All right. Very good, very good. If you're just joining, say hello if you would in the chat and put where you're from. It's always fun to see where everybody's from. I saw we got Texas, and I know we got Arizona. Colorado Springs, cool. Ahwatukee. Chicago, I bet it's real cold. And Eric from California, very cool. We got quite an array already, that's cool. Let me know if you can hear okay and everything. Oh yeah. All right. I think we're good on time. Looks good. Everybody ready? All right. So hello, everybody. Thanks for joining in. I'm Chad from Turner's Warehouse, and I think we got a good one today. It's going to be, I would say it's probably on the more easy side of a project, but it's going to be a really cool pen, I think, when we're done. And it's one I haven't done before, so it's going to be fun to see how it comes out. And I'm going to show you a couple tricks along the way. What I'm talking about is circuit board pens. And I've made a lot of circuit board pens back 7, 8 years ago when I was doing a lot of shows. We live in an area where, I forget who it was, Intel was one, and maybe Motorola, but there were several tech manufacturing around. So circuit board pens did real well at shows for me. So I used to make them in batches of 50 and 100, which was pretty cool. But you crack a lot of them, or at least you used to, because the old days they were cast in polyester resin, and it's really kind of tough. I think now they're cast in epoxy, which we're going to find out here in a minute. But we haven't had any new ones for a while, and now we got some new ones, so that's kind of cool. But I'm going to show you a couple tricks that I do for circuit board pens, kind of similar to watch part pens, so that I don't risk cracking them or cracking the clear coat. So if you have any questions, throw it out at any time. I've got Amy on the chat, so she'll be chatting with you, and she'll tell me any questions. So that way I don't have to watch the chat, but she'll just let me know if there's any questions. Anything?
No, we're good. We have people in all the way from Central England.
What? Who's from England?
Wuzzle the Wood Butcher.
Oh, well, welcome from England. That's awesome. What time is it in England right now? It's got to be 11 at night or 2 in the morning or something? I don't know.
Late, maybe.
Isn't it 8 or 9 hours past where we are? I don't know. That's pretty cool, though. Thanks for joining in. All right, let's jump into it. Let me show you a couple things, if I get the right camera here. So this is the set for the slimline that we're going to make. And I'm actually going to do a black enamel slimline. I think it's going to look really bomb with the black circuit boards. But we have a couple other circuit boards. To me, green and black are the best. They're my favorite. Green by far is my favorite. But like in Cigar, we have white, green. In Monarch, we have black, green. I think we might even have orange or blue in a couple of them, but I didn't bring them all. But I just wanted to show you. That's how they come. Most of the time, they're pretty close to being squared on the ends, but not quite. There's just a little bevel. So I use the sanding jig with the punch set to square them. That's how they look so clean on the end. And I think Amy may have, or she might post a little clip of squaring these on the jig. We've done it before, so if you want to look back at other shorts or something. But it's a real easy way to square up fragile blanks without damaging them. So that's what we're going to make today, is a black circuit board slimline in black, which to me seems crazy, or in the old days it seemed kind of crazy just because of the cost of these, but they've kind of gone down a lot. Like this set is now $12. So between this and the kit was $350-ish. I mean, you're in it for $15, but I think on a low end, you could sell this for $45 3 times, but I think I'd probably price these at like $60. So it depends on your audience, of course, and who you're after, but awesome gifts for $15 or great sellers for $15. So either way, it works out. But let's get this started, and we'll show you what's going on here.
10 p.m. in England.
It's only 10 p.m.? I thought it was much later. That's not terrible, I guess. So it is 8 hours. No, 7 hours. How's it only 7 hours difference? That's kind of cool. All right, I'm using a mandrel because this is a slimline. I don't have any TBC, anything for slimline. I always use a mandrel. Now, I do one blank at a time. So I'm going to set one back there, and I'm going to put this on. I do have one slimline bushing. I could do another for space if I want, but I don't really need it. There's enough room with this. This mandrel's like profiled enough that one is plenty. But I am going to use a mandrel saver. Now, here's something kind of cool. So this is the deluxe pen mandrel and mandrel saver. That's what it looks like. But I actually have been using my record lately, and I know I sound like a broken record. Get it? This is dang it, I always forget the name of it. Falcon set. And it's a live center, and it has a pen mandrel saver that you can plug in, or a 60-degree, or like a crown point, or just an extended point, which I use a lot too. But this thing is awesome, and I really like the quality. It's made in England, over there. And I've been using this for like months and months now, and it's holding up perfectly. So I'm pretty excited about that. I've been using that more than the one that came with the set. But just a couple of quick things here. When you're turning circuit boards or any delicate resin, don't slam your tailstock up to your blank. I kind of stop short, lock the tailstock, and then I'll slowly snug it. And that way I'm just putting a little pressure on it here versus jamming the whole thing and risking cracking it, especially with watch parts. That's why I started doing that, but it's very valid here as well. So just give it a nice snug without going crazy. All right. I can use a little tiny tool rest. I'm going to use carbide. I'm going to use Easy Wood, which is convenient because I'm wearing an Easy Wood shirt. So I didn't plan it, but I knew I was going to use Easy Wood tools, but this was the shirt closest to the door, so that's the one I grabbed. But plus, it's like a good weight. It's light. All right, so I'm going to use a square with a radiused negative rake. Now, I don't necessarily need negative rake. This is going to turn pretty smooth, I think. But since it's on my tool, I'm going to go ahead and use it. And then I'm going to use a regular finisher, which is the round tool. And I'll probably use that if I need to just get in there and move some material a little faster. So it'll be pretty easy. And the turning is pretty straightforward. So the turning we won't take a lot of time on, but we are going to take time on the polishing and assembly, which is where most of the little tips and tricks come in. So if there's anything that comes up, just shout it out, and we'll get started here. What's the question?
When you do one piece, how do you keep the mandrel from spinning off the mandrel and
Say that one more time.
When you only do one piece, how do you keep the mandrel from spinning off the mandrel MT2?
So the question is, when doing one piece, how do you keep the mandrel from spinning off something? I'm not quite sure what that means, but let me show you this setup here. So you can see my mandrel and my mandrel saver. I use the mandrel saver, which slides over the mandrel. So whether I put on 2 pieces or 1, you see if I put the second one on there, it slides over the mandrel. Or if I take it off and put 1, it slides over the mandrel, just goes up further. So the reason I like to do this is I have less chance of bowing my mandrel because it's shorter and it's got basically something holding it on each side that short. So that's why I always turn 1. I've only turned 1 body for years. I probably haven't put 2 bodies on a mandrel in like 15 years or more. And I just think it's better quality. If it works for you, do whatever works. But that's why I do that. If that didn't answer your question, say it again, and maybe I can understand if I got it backwards or something.
What speed are you turning?
Oh, good question. The question is, what speed am I turning? Right now it's spinning at 1200, but I'm going to turn it up. I would spin these as fast as my lathe will go. This one goes 3800. And you can see, we're just going to, here, we'll round this. This was square. I mean, it wasn't like sharp corners, but it was square. So I'm just going to take my little negative rake here, just walk across it. You see I'm kind of at an angle. And there's little chips coming off, but I'm only cutting a little tiny bit. But what you see is it's not like beating me up. It's not bouncing the tool. If I tried to go face on like this, it would really like be grabbing a lot of material. You can see on this corner, there's barely any material that I cut. So until we get this round, you know, it's going to be kind of rough, even though it's small. But by turning it higher speed and with this negative rake, I can kind of ease in on it and just make it round. And the chips will start short because you're only cutting a little piece. As the chips get longer and longer and then turn into ribbons, that means you're going all the way around the material. So we can keep going across, you know, using that corner, like I said in the beginning, until it gets round. And we can do this however many times we want. I'm barely taking any off, but I could go a lot deeper. So you can go a little slower and deeper. You can see that's a much bigger cut. And it's starting to spin. And go whichever direction you're comfortable with. Now I'm starting to get little ribbons like this. So I can probably go more facing on it. And now I'm going to cut ribbons. So you can see that we're getting little tails shooting off instead of little chips. But you can still hear kind of that crunchy sound. That's where it's breaking from material to air, right there. So once I get that round, my ribbons will be solid and it won't make that noise. There we go. See, those ribbons are solid now. And this definitely smells like epoxy. It's not like offensive like polyester used to be. And it's like big ribbons. If this was polyester, these would just be all crackly and fall off. But let's see. Polyester's the worst. It made nice pens, but it was the worst to turn, the worst to cast. All right, so we're all round. Now we can just shape this guy up. And I mean, I'm gonna just do the whole thing with this negative rake because it's kind of easy. Now, I don't know how much room I have with these circuit boards on these little slimlines. I didn't really examine them. So I'm going to kind of leave it a little plump, not crazy, but a little bit more than I might normally. And you can just knock the chips away. I got a brush here.
Spinning inside that mandrel saver.
Say that again?
The mandrel spinning inside the mandrel saver. Because Brent asked, with the mandrel saver, the mandrel comes off the headstock. So I think maybe they think that.
With the mandrel saver, the mandrel comes off the headstock. Yes. So this is the headstock, the motor end. The mandrel is wedged into the Morse taper here. So the mandrel is spinning. Now it's not spinning inside of the tailstock, it's spinning the tailstock with it. So you can see how this is moving the same as my hand. So by putting pressure on the mandrel, I'm essentially putting pressure back on this, and the whole thing is now spinning because of the motor. Does that make sense? So the mandrel's sticking through here, it's just sticking in the air inside the tailstock. But the pressure here on the bushing and the mandrel saver is what's making the whole thing spin. So when I start it up, this spins too. And you want that. If this was too loose and backed off, it wouldn't spin, and that would mean your mandrel was like floating on its own. So you wouldn't want that. All right, let's get a little closer to the bushing here. It is weird turning slimlines after making so many big pens over the years. These are so small. But I still like slimlines. If you have a bad feeling about slimlines, like, give them another shot, because whether you're doing gifts or selling, slimlines probably should be part of it. If not, you're missing a segment in multiple ways. All right, so that looks pretty good. All right, so I'm gonna make a little pass here, make sure I don't have any ridges or anything. Looks pretty good. And we have a slight, like, bumpus shape, not real big, but slightly. All right, so that was pretty easy. And it looks like, I definitely didn't hit any parts. It actually looks like I have tons of room. So maybe those are really low parts in there. I don't know what kind of circuit boards they actually make these out of, but they don't seem to have a lot of raised pieces. All right, so we're gonna put the next one on. And remember, slimline just goes right on the mandrel, where every other kit is suspended on the mandrel by the bushing. So slimline is just sitting on the mandrel. Slide this up. Get it close, and then slowly lock it down. Did that answer the question, I hope? No? Oh. All right. Well, it sounds like Amy's moderating and she's having some technical difficulties. So if you don't see your question get answered, just repeat it a little later, and we'll try to get it going for you. All right, so let's look at this here real quick. We're going to go, this is the square blank. This is how they're cast. Like I said, the corners aren't sharp. They're not like round, but they're just like smooth corners. But look at how clear that is. These are really clear casts. They're definitely epoxy. All right, so I'm going to show you. You can go just a little deeper. And I do want to go a little slower when I go deeper because I don't want to pull chips. But you can see those chips that I am cutting are real big, right? So that's the square or the radius. So that's one cut from square to round. Now let's do the round finisher tool. And we can do the same thing, bringing it on the end and just make a slower, bigger cut. And I'm already getting ribbons because I cut deep enough that it's continuing. So really get to know your tools, and you can kind of do this stuff relatively quickly. So this was the negative rake square, and this was the round. And I mean, they look identical. So you don't have to do it all in one cut, but you certainly can. And it just kind of is good practice for your tool control. So we'll clean that off. Now I'm going to just bring this down. Still got a little bit of add around right there. See those little chips turn into ribbons? Are you still having technical difficulties? Amy is completely down. Well, I'll check the chat on my computer here in a minute, so if you have anything going on. But hopefully you can see those ribbons. It's, once you get it round, they really just flow off of here nice. And that's the beauty of epoxy or Alumilite. I'm not getting much dust or any dust that I can really detect, but I'm getting nice ribbons, so they're cutting really well. All right, let me see if there's anything. Da, 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 da. All right, I'm not sure if I'm up to date, but looks like there's no questions right now. So let's go ahead and just cut this all the way, and then we'll get into the polishing. Now, obviously, if you're turning Cigar or Monarch, it's exactly the same process for turning, other than you're going to use different bushings, and you have a little more to turn than a Slimline. But I mean, this is a really nice blank for 12 bucks, and it's a relatively easy turn that makes a really cool pen. So, I mean, this is pretty cool. Is it our internet, you think?
Maybe.
Huh.
I just asked the girls over there and they said it keeps freezing.
Oh, it does?
Yeah, which is what I'm seeing, but I wasn't sure if it was like the whole system or just
Hey, is it freezing on you? I guess if they're seeing it. Yellow cord. And then plug it in by the door and just open the door a little bit. But get it plugged in as soon as you can because it takes a minute to reload. All right. So let me know if you guys are still here or if I lost you. Audio is good, but video is freezing. Okay, hold on. We're gonna fix this freezing issue.
Give it a minute first.
Can you see the white light?
Yes,
Okay.
give it a minute.
So yeah, this will just take a sec. If you have a chance to get 5G internet, don't, because it's not very good. We have to constantly move it around, and they said it would be so great, but it's not great.
Is it supposed to like stop blinking?
It'll turn solid when it's connected. So look at this. This is more than the whole blank looked like of just shavings. All right. We are here. Turning round is here. It's choppy, choppy, choppy. Green slimlines in gold hardware. That's a good look. So I'll tell you my best-selling circuit board pen, if you can still hear me. Cigar pen with the green circuit board in the black tie platinum finish, black tie platinum that we have at Turner's. I've been making that for like 10 years. And I used to have companies that would a couple times a year order like 50 or 75 or 100, and that was really good because it was really lucrative when I was selling pens full time. All right, we're connected?
That stopped blinking, so that's a good sign.
All right, let's see if I can connect to it. Well, I don't see it. I don't know.
See it on the list.
We may have killed it. So is it better? Because it's funny. It says I have a weaker signal, but it's probably a better quality signal. Sorry about this, guys. I hate technical difficulties. It's like my nemesis when you're trying to do a live stream. Is it gone? Okay. Well, we'll keep going here. But anyway, black titanium platinum was like my number one. I still make them whenever I can for people because they're pretty cool. And actually now the black tie gold is pretty great. I don't know where it went. That's funny. Okay. Well, I don't know what else I can do.